Toledo Bend is definitely in the running for king of the tournament lakes.
The big one. Giant.
And the king of tournament bass fishing?
Boom!
Oh, it's Kevin Van Dam with 20 Bassmaster victories.
Kevin Van Dam!
Though it's been 5 years since win number 20, something's happening on Toledo Bend this week. KVD is around the big ones. So we'll watch and see if the king can bring home another one on the Bassmaster Elite Series.
Well, this is it, rolling up on the halfway point. The Bassmaster Elite Series season right here. Tommy Sanders, Mark Zona, welcome to the Toyota Bassmaster Studios. And see, this is not one we look past. This is one we look forward to, and we look forward to it in a big way and been doing it for decades.
No doubt about it, Tommy Sanders. And here's the amazing thing about Toledo Bend. If you catch a big bass, a 10-pound bass, really anywhere in the country, you've done something. Well, Tommy Sanders, not when you are on Toledo Bend. If you want to see biggins, today is the day, and that's going to be the Yamaha Unlock the Lake this week. This is a different Toledo Bend this time around. We had spring floods, which really kind of ripped all the grass, the deep grass out of this lake. The water level is high, and with the water level high, and we're just kind of getting into summertime, there's a lot of fish up shallow, there's a lot of fish up deep, and what's great about that, you can come to Toledo Bend right now and it's really kind of pick your poison because you can catch them any way you want.
185,000 acres, legendary water for 5 decades. This place has been playing. It's just about as old as the sport of professional bass fishing again. We're looking forward to this one all year long, and we did not disappoint on day number 1. Our big story of the day, the biggest name in the sport.
Kevin Van Dam! 29 pounds, 5 ounces! KVD crushes them on day number 1.
Oh, that's your headline right there. That's the number 1 story at this 5th stop of the year for the Bassmaster Elite Series. The king is back. The return of the king, question mark? See if he can hang on and keep this thing going after the field spots him 5 pounds on day 1.
Exactly right, Tommy Sanders. And really, there's 2 bullets in Van Dam's gun this week. He starts off shallow in the morning for about an hour, hour and a half. But it's when he fades offshore, that's the majority of his damage. Kevin Van Dam will go into a flurry, and it's the big bites that have put him over the top.
Well, that's number 5 anyways. Well, you know, yesterday was one of those deals where, because I was able to get out, there's a good one. When I was able to get out there, that's a big one. It's a big one, a giant. It's about like this right here yesterday. He's got 1 hook, and it's a great big one. If I can land this one, go a long ways. Boom! There's an 8-pounder right there. Dude, and I just got a hook in my hand. Like big time. And I got a 10XD in my hand. This is not what you want right here. Look here. That's bad. Hey, I got a hook in my hand, and it's a big hook, so you need to jerk it out, but I'll show you how to do it. I gotta get this sucker off. A 2-aught KVD, and these are the worst ever to get in your hand.
The ARE Truck Caps Bassmaster Elite at Toledo Bend is brought to you by Mercury, Minn Kota, Triton Boats, and by Nitro.
Back to Toledo Bend, 5th stop of the year for the Bassmaster Elite Series. Our big story, here's a hint. All those boats there we see in the foreground as we zoom into that 1 boat. That is, of course, Kevin Van Dam, the fantastic day 1 for him, 29 pounds plus. The field spots him 5 pounds to start this 2nd day. This is what happened. Before we left you, Kevin Van Dam filling out his limit.
There's an 8-pounder right there. Dude, and I just got a hook in my hand. And I got a 10XD in my hand. Ah, God dog. This is not what you want right here. That's bad. And you just catch an 8-pounder, you want to get back in there. But I've got to get that out, and the only way to do it is with braided line. So I'm gonna have to, hey, I got a hook in my hand, and it's a big hook, so you need to jerk it out, but I'll show you how to do it. So the first thing you want to do is I got to get this sucker off here. It's gonna hurt, but oh God. Okay, that part's easy. Okay, let me get a rod with some braid in here. What we got to do now is tie it in this part right there. Just tie it like 3 or 4. Do one more because it's a 2-aught. Okay, and then what I got to do here? Yeah, you got it. That's good. Okay, so then you're gonna wrap your arm around right here and get just about that much, and you're gonna get a slack, and you're gonna freaking jack it. Don't tell me, just do it. Just like that, slick as a whistle. Oh, put that hook back on there. This is the new bleeding, sexy blueback herring color, complete with KVD meat. I'll take a hook in the hand for an 8-pounder all day, every day. See how easy it is to get them out if you know what you're doing. Even a 2-aught Mustad KVD, which is a bad son of a gun. You know, it's the reason that I caught that 8-pounder. He had one little hook in him, and I was able to land him with it. Last time we were here, I was 1 or 2 bites away from, you know, having a top 12. That feels like a good one there. Yeah, biggin. Here's a biggin. No doubt. Another. That's a good one. Sometimes you just got to show them something different. That's swim bait.
So KVD with the limit fairly early, and then he goes Mark Zona to his specific rotation to keep trying to upgrade.
Exactly right. He's been really rotating a bunch of different crankbaits, a hair jig, a swim bait, but it's the condition that this lake is in right now. The last time we were here, there was tons of deep grass. Not that case this time around with the floods we had earlier in the year, and Van Dam is absolutely exploiting those conditions.
KVD Kevin Van Dam. 20 pounds, 11 ounces, 50 pounds even, and KVD is halfway to the Century Club.
Kevin Van Dam not nearly so spectacular as day number 1, but 20 pounds plus is pretty solid. Good position right here.
No doubt. If you take a look at the leaderboard right here, you're going to see Van Dam with, well, let's call it a couple pound lead, a little bit more than that. But we are on a lake that you can catch one bass and catch up all the way down to 12th place. Van Dam is not out of the woods yet, going into day 3 against, well, some of the best shallow water anglers ever.
You know, I'm trying to chase down the best bass fisherman in the world, and that's probably one of the hardest things you could ever do. So I got a tall task ahead of me, and the guys behind me are so good too. And you look at the bags that they've come out with lately. Anything's gonna happen on this lake. It's gonna come down to the wire, but it's gonna be really, really fun to watch.
Chris Lane, Hank Cherry, Ish Monroe, all the guys pursuing Kevin Van Dam are big-time difference makers in their own right, but getting out there with Chris Lane first. I mean, look at this guy who's won in 2012, 13, 14, and 15.
And this is the kind of tournament really where Chris Lane is very, very dangerous, catching limits incredibly early, like breaking their heads in the first hour, and it's kind of his potatoes. That's how he fills his limit. What he's doing is throwing a topwater, kind of a Zara spook-like bait, and he really goes to work very quickly each morning of this tournament, and he's been a benefactor of the high water. Chris Lane has started and stayed shallow really the entire event.
and so incredibly consistent over the first 2 days. 23-14 day one, 23-15 on day number 2. You got to think in the back of Kevin Van Dam's mind, this guy is looming large.
Now with what we got in the well, we got 2 good ones in there, and we got all day to catch 3 more big ones or 5 more big ones.
Right there's a moose. Oh my gosh. Oh my, don't you do it.
Stand by, folks, this is a big one.
Yeah! Woo! Pow! Look at that! That's some live for you.
That's a Toledo Bend beauty right there.
As we said, it's been a meat and potatoes deal for Chris Lane, and when he goes to that exact topwater bait, that has been the result.
Again, the early, very significant limit for Chris Lane on day number 3. We got to get back out to our leader to start this day by 2 pounds and change over Chris Lane. Kevin Van Dam, he doesn't have that lead anymore, but he's starting his day the way he started every day.
Exactly right, and Van Dam has not been getting a ton of bites shallow early, but generally, when Van Dam did get a bite early, it was a good one.
Big one. That was a bite. Oh my God, did he just... Look at there. Look at that one. You think he's been eating some shad? That's a good start. I don't know why it hadn't happened any sooner. There is 10 billion shad here. When he was fighting there, he puffed out about 10 shad that he just, freshly ate.
Kevin Van Dam, who has gotten a limit early, shallow water, only 1 fish today, but a good one up to Hank Cherry. Starts his day about 6 pounds behind Kevin Van Dam. Up the lake doing something completely different from our other leaders and doing something he says is kind of different for him.
Oh my gosh. Watch out. Woo! Share my lunker. Ha! There you go, Dad. There's your 8-pounder. All right. Thank you, Jesus. Big bud in there.
Things definitely picking up for Hank Cherry, one of the guys in pursuit. The man with the lead to start the day, Kevin Van Dam. We'll see who makes up the most ground when we're back at Manny, Louisiana and Toledo Bend.
You're watching the ARE Truck Caps Bassmaster Elite at Toledo Bend.
Big event on Toledo Bend this week. That guy, the #1 name in the sport of bass fishing, in the lead on day number 3, and a lot of interest because this was his last Elite Series win. That was back in 2010, a postseason event where he captured his 6th Toyota Bassmaster Angler of the Year title.
Exactly right, Tommy Sanders. And you started to hear people doubt, whether it's media, other anglers, will Van Dam ever win again? Well, if there's a tournament that is setting up in the wheelhouse, we are at it, and Van Dam is doing damage here on day number 3.
Freaking giant. That's what I'm talking about right there now. Can y'all back up, please? That's what we're looking for. Jeezy Pete.
Yeah, Jeezy Pete's. How about we have every tournament on Toledo Bend, Tommy?
Hey, if it's up to me, I'm all in. That's a great idea. Let's do it.
I don't know what it is about Louisiana. Golly, you know, the classic, and then the Sabine River, of course, that was Orange, Texas, but everything right on this Texas-Louisiana line, it just suits my style, you know, the grass and the hyacinths and the Kissimmee grass, or you guys call it hay grass here. You know, I just love it. And I know that, you know, when you have the opportunity to catch big fish, you really, against the best fishermen in the world, you really have to target big bass. And it's just a really fun lake to fish right now. You hear these guys? Huh?
John! Yeah, baby! Pow!
Chris Lane absolutely doing what he has to do to stay with Kevin Van Dam on Toledo Bend here. Meanwhile, up the lake, here's Ish Monroe. He won the very first Elite Series event, and most people say he'll win some more.
And really, we haven't seen water this high in Toledo Bend in any Elite Series that we have been here. And that one sets up perfectly for Ish Monroe and guys like Chris Lane. The main reason, with all that cover in the water, there's just a huge population of bass that have no reason to leave. And Ish Monroe said the main key, covering water.
Yeah! 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 I say for panda.
Well, Ish Monroe, day 1 to 2, upped his weight by about 6 pounds. He's still got a ways to go if he wants to repeat that feat once again. And you see those huge numbers of boats, you know exactly who we're talking about.
Exactly right. Kevin Van Dam. The great thing about being Kevin Van Dam, well, all the success. The negative is all of the eyes on you.
Yeah, it's the deal. You know, I'm fortunate. I got great sponsor support, and that's the reason, because I've got a great fan base, but it's challenging in many circumstances. Very hard to win when you got a group like that, you know, on top of you, and then they're fishing your, all your, follow you and then fish your stuff. Got him. Biggin, I think. Sweet. That's cool. That's giant right there, like monstrous. Sucker bit the cast before. I've been making the same cast.
Oh, and that would turn out to be monstrous because Van Dam would only catch 5 bass total on day 3.
Good ones, though, and we're about to see how good as we head to Cypress Bend Park, Manny, Louisiana. First up, it's Keith Combs. Did a great job today. Got his total over 20 pounds for the day. 57.14 for the 3 days.
Yeah, Keith Combs, one of the best ever in the history of the state of Texas. From there, angler we haven't seen in a while, Paul Mueller from Connecticut, sitting with 59 pounds and 10 ounces. Good enough for 5th place.
Hey, Hank Cherry hanging in there. Didn't quite equal his day 1 weight, but good enough. 18 pounds plus. That puts him right solidly in the top 5. 4th place on day 3.
Oh, and you're not going to have a heavyweight event without this guy right here, the BBS, the Big Bass Specialist, Ish Monroe, 65 pounds, 13 ounces, 3rd place.
22 pounds plus. That's a great day for Ish Monroe. Ditto for Chris Lane, 21 pounds, 3 ounces. That's 3 days in the 20. And even still, he's going to lose ground to the guy who comes up last, Kevin Van Dam.
Kevin Van Dam with 74 pounds and 12 ounces. Boom shakalaka, giant bass.
Today was really bad conditions for what I'm doing. There's really no water movement at all, no wind or anything like that. So I'm hoping for a little bit of a weather change tomorrow, and it looks like we got one coming, so we'll see.
Hoping for bigger things tomorrow. Well, he had almost 25 pounds today, including the big bass of the day, 8 pounds and 11 ounces. So Kevin Van Dam, after 3 days, certainly positioned to pick up his first Elite Series win in some time. So in the quest for win number 21, Kevin Van Dam has got to face down yet Chris Lane, Ish Monroe, Hank Cherry, and all the rest. 12 of them left. We'll have the final day action for you from Manny, Louisiana when we come back.
The ARE Truck Caps Bassmaster Elite at Toledo Bend is brought to you by Toyota, Yamaha, and by Skeeter Boats.
Toledo Bend Reservoir, Manny, Louisiana, final day, and as per usual, 12 anglers left in this thing, all of them chasing the leader, Kevin Van Dam, with the 5-pound lead to start the day, trying to win it wire to wire.
Final day of an event, especially being in contention, you know, there's the only thing probably worse is the classic, you know, when you're doing well there. It's just, there's so much pressure.
You know, you got to catch big ones to win here at Toledo Bend, and you can see we're going to have a lot of people around. It's going to be a good time, so let's rock and roll.
Once again, our 12 guys. Let's take a look at the top 6, the leaders, as they start today going in different directions. Mark
No doubt about that. Tommy Sanders really heading in totally different directions. 3 running up lake, 3 of them running down. But keep your eye on Chris Lane from Alabama. He's been running down lake almost the entire tournament, calling an audible on this final morning and starting on a spot that he's been fishing later in the day on days 1 through 3. And Chris Lane, every single day of this tournament, fireworks have started early.
Yeah, Chris Lane, even Kevin Van Dam hasn't gotten a limit the first thing every day. That's been the stock and trade for Chris Lane throughout this top water assault on Toledo Bend.
You just said it right there, Tommy Sanders. A top water assault. Really, he's lived with 2 baits. Top water walking style bait and that whopper plopper. And I cannot tell you the last time we've had an event where an angler has thrown just a top water all 4 days.
There's a good one right there. Biggin. Yeah. Woo!
There's 5, baby. Now we're getting somewhere. 3.5, 3-pounder. There's
Again,
5.
Chris Lane doing that every day, all 4 days, and a perfect outcome on each of the 4 days. Over to Kevin Van Dam, also starting shallow early, but hasn't gotten the same result every day.
It's been a struggle every day other than the first day. You know, the first day, everything went perfect. You know, it's just one of those magical days. And since then, I've had to grind it out. So, you know, if I can grind one more day, we'll be in good shape.
There's a better one. Keep her. Anyways. Gotta start someplace.
One fish early for Kevin Van Dam, and of course, you know his people are looking for him. It looked like he was alone. That's definitely not the case.
Exactly right. Really, if you watch day 3, every single bite for Van Dam will count, only catching 5 yesterday.
Got him. There's a good one. Bonus bass. It's a dang 5-pounder. That'll work. If we saw him just blow up on shad up there.
Living right.
Kind of a sign of the times, Tommy.
Yeah,
Pulling a page out of Chris Lane's book right
Keeping
there.
up with the headlines of today. That's Kevin Van Dam. That's what keeps him fresh and young. Ish Monroe, 4 wins with the Bassmaster Elite Series. 2 top 12s here on the Sabine River system between here at Toledo Bend and Orange, Texas.
It just sucks that I can't get a morning bite. If I could figure something out in the morning, I hear about all these guys, catching them first thing. I think the bluegill start getting active and the bass move into the shade on the bushes. And it's like I can pretty much pick it out where they're gonna be. Biggin, biggin, biggin. Yeah! Sago, you wanted the shot. I gave you the shot, Sago. Yeah, he got his one fish catch. That's all he wanted.
Ish Monroe talking about Sago Saito, the fantastic photographer for Bassmaster.com and Bassmaster Magazine. There's the shot right there.
Great shot right there from Sago. Ish Monroe with a solid keep out. Whoa, hey. Exactly right from Ish Monroe. Gonna go over to one more angler that's well started and lived shallow all week long. North Carolina, Hank Cherry.
The last time I fished tournament on Toledo Bend, I ended up 16th. Came very close to making the cut then. So this time, I've improved on that, and I love fishing this lake. This lake is full of fish. You can catch them any way you want to fish, and you know it's just anytime you pull up on a place and you know you can do that, you got to be comfortable bass fishing. Dang it. Can't do nothing. Stay there. Come here. That is the how not to do section of the Bassmasters.
We've had that section in operation for a while. Pretty popular, as a matter
Actually,
of
for quite a long time.
Hank Cherry with the save there. Keeps him in the game here, and everyone trying to run down our leader. Kevin Van Dam trying to win it wire to wire with so many distractions on this final day.
It was the hardest day, most stressful day I've had on the water in a long, long, long time. So you got to be either there or there, one way or the other, not right behind me. Please. I'm just fishing by the seat of my pants.
Bassmaster Elite Series, our 5th stop of the year, the ARE Truck Caps Bassmaster Elite at legendary Toledo Bend, 180,000 plus acres. Probably well plus of that because we got high water here and high expectations for the #1 man in the sport, Kevin Van Dam, trying to fill out his limit early on this final day.
Good one. Well, we're working on it anyways. It's fun. That is fun right there. Right now I have 4 fish. I have one 4.5 pounder, 5 pounder, and a couple of 3.5s, and one little baby. You can catch some big ones doing this, but the earlier the better. You really need it to be pretty calm. There's so much boat traffic, then it bounces off these seawalls. Just makes it really hard to catch them.
Really on day #1, that's how Van Dam caught him early. I mean, he crushed him the first day of competition, but that shallow water deal really fizzled out on days 2 and 3. Those 4 fish in the box are huge right now because the bulk of his weight have come doing this right here.
So I made that transition. You know, every morning I've been starting shallow on the shad spawn, and now we're gonna fish some offshore places. My biggest fish have all come fishing like this, deep cranking, throwing a 6XD or an 8 or a 10. Yep. Hey, you gotta be either there or there, one way or the other, not right behind me. Please. There's one. Good one. That's a nice one. Boom! 3-pounder.
I'm sorry, in over a decade of covering the Elite Series, that is the best fish catch ever.
So good. You move over there. You're out of here. Hey, good one. Nice. All right. That's a show right there. Paul Mueller starting today in 5th place, 15 pounds behind Kevin Van Dam.
Exactly right. Really fishing across the lake from our takeoff. Paul Mueller doing the exact same thing as our leader, Kevin Van Dam.
Yep. Big one. It's a school of giants. Yes! This could be a winning school right here. The cool thing about that is I just found this school. I have not practiced here. I saw it on the map. It looked good. It looks similar to where I've been fishing. I'd never made it over here in practice. All right. If it's a school like that, we're about to have some fun. Big one. Don't you jump. Big one. Giants, dude. That's a big one. Oh, yeah!
Productive little spurt there for Paul Mueller, 32 years old from Connecticut. You remember him from the 2014 Bassmaster Classic, especially the second day. He had 32 pounds and 3 ounces, biggest single day ever at the Bassmaster Classic.
Exactly right. Mueller said coming into this final day, look, man, I am not out of it. I'm on a school that I guarantee you is 30 to 40 pounds. Well, he's going to need all of that to catch Van Dam today.
Yeah, again, he's starting from 15 pounds back, but hey, at this place, you never rule anyone out, especially in the top 5.
No doubt about it. The footage that we've seen today, unbelievable. And a lot of that really has come all week long has been to this angler, Chris Lane.
There's something to it that I haven't figured out yet, like a late in the afternoon bite that they just can't resist, and they don't follow it. I mean, they just eat the thing, you know, if they're gonna eat it. So the reason I've stuck to it the whole time is because of the size that it catches.
Like that, flush. Oh, that ain't big, but he'll help. Ah!
About that. God dang, that thing like flushed it. That's a good call right there. Yeah, and I didn't set the hook. Yeah, that's a chunk, huh? He ain't giant, but he's a chunk. Couple of 7s now. I got a feeling I'm behind. I just got that feeling in my gut. Let's flush some 7s here. Come on. You'll kick it, buddy.
And for what we've seen, that mule kick could happen at any moment. That's why it's hard to take your eyes off Chris Lane at this moment on this day on Toledo Bend. We are going to take a moment, visit the Shell Rotella Bassmaster Garage. And Mark Zona, you said it earlier, on this place, pick your poison. Chris Lane said, I picked topwater, and he's picked one in particular. You're going to show it to us.
Well, Chris Lane, one of the best topwater fishermen on planet Earth, and he's been throwing this river to sea whopper plopper, and he's not been living with this. He throws a different bait early in the morning, but when the water warms up and the bluegills get active, he glues this in his hand and throws it all day long for those giant bites. And kind of similar but different to what Van Dam's doing. Van Dam starts off shallow, but when the current gets going out deep, we talk about specialists in this event. Van Dam, one of the best in the world with this 10XD crankbait. And here's the deal in this event right now is Chris Lane, Van Dam, not getting a ton of bites on these 2 key baits, but when they do, true Toledo Bend
And Van Dam's back out there deep right now, going for his 21st victory, and you'd think after so many, they may not mean so much, each one of them individually later on, but talk to Kevin Van Dam and you find out that's not the case.
Everyone is special. I think since day one, you know, sometimes you take it for granted. It's been a while since I've won an Elite Series event, and you don't get opportunities every day to put yourself in position. So, you know, we've got basically I've got 2 hours left, and I'm going to just spend it cranking every high percentage corner that I know. You know, these fish definitely have been moving up in the afternoons on a lot of these. Really felt good what I just, fishy, very fishy.
Really, Van Dam has been fishing high percentage areas, as he calls them, all week, and that's going to be the Skeeter taste the bait for sure in this event. And Van Dam is he's not fishing huge areas, Tommy Sanders. He's been really concentrating on clean areas that he calls stop signs, areas that are outside of major spawning coves. Been fishing a Strike King 10XD, 8XD, and a 6XD, really in 3 different depth ranges, but when he gets bit, it's been a giant.
There we go, big one. That's the one we need right there. Oh, yep. Giant. Giant. If I can get this one. That makes me feel a lot better. Now I got a chance. Boom!
Yeah, it's about over right there, isn't it?
Yeah, he's saying there's a chance.
Yeah,
I'd say there's more than a chance that Kevin Van Dam can keep doing what he's been doing all 4 days of this tournament. Does that, he'll bring the win back to these folks at Cypress Bend Park. We'll have that for you when we come back.
Elite at Toledo Bend is brought to you by GoPro, Toyota, Berkeley, and by Hook.
Final part of the fishing day, last day at Toledo Bend. Here's the situation. All the anglers chasing Kevin Van Dam, looking for his 21st Bassmaster win. Hank Cherry, with his 2 Bassmaster wins, knows, like everyone else, he's going to have the Toledo Bend day of a lifetime to have a chance.
Brutal situation for Hank Cherry, really in a heavyweight tournament where all of your leaders are landing a bad deal. And not only that, Hank Cherry has lost at least 1 giant every day of this tournament.
No, absolutely can't do it. You saw the size of that one right there. Chris Lane has fished almost perfect this time around, this tournament on Toledo Bend. But again, this may be his slowest day of all the 4 so far.
God! Ain't as big but as I thought, but she'll definitely help. Oh! That's a fatty. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord.
Chris Lane, a limit for him today. He'll start upgrading, and he needs to do so very quickly because this guy's in the same position.
I knew I was going to make it happen here in this spot, dude. I saw that current coming down. I said, It's very interesting in all of sports. Different athletes out there, and then especially towards the end of their career, you know, whether it's Kobe or, and not that I'm saying that I'm like that, but it's very interesting to me because my perspective is the same as all of those guys. They're like, they still believe they've got it and are really good at what they do and can compete at a high level. You know, a lot of times they can't. But I've also seen a lot of really good anglers go through the same thing. You know, I mean, it's gonna happen to everyone eventually. I don't care. The older you get, the harder it is to be open-minded about fishing. If I end up winning, I can promise you the only reason is that Lake Master mapping, that they invested the money to map this thing to show me the bottom contours of the lake. 'Cause that's all that I've done. Been able to ride it to Sunday anyways. We'll see if we can take it all the way. Big one. Well, call.
That's him. That's the force of nature that's so familiar to all of us.
No doubt about that, Tommy Sanders, and really listening to the exact words that he said on this final day. Kevin Van Dam, I don't care what anybody says, still the best.
What happens, happens, but I feel like I got a good shot at it. Gave it everything we could. I don't think you can work much harder than what I have this week, so let's do it.
Stellar work all week long. Just about a perfect tournament for Kevin Van Dam. The crowd ready to go at Cypress Bend Park for the final wave.
Let's get ready to win! Our first angler, a three-time Toyota Texas Bass Classic champion, a former Elite Series champion and Bassmaster Century Club member from Huntington, Texas, Keith Combs. 24 pounds, 13 ounces. Our next angler, a two-time Geico Bassmaster Classic qualifier. He's weighed in the 5 biggest fish in Bassmaster Classic history, Paul Mueller. It's a big day, looking for 23-2. 22 pounds, 2 ounces. A former Toyota Trucks All-Star champion, former Elite Series, a Rookie of the Year from Maiden, North Carolina, Hank Cherry. Started today with 63-2, 18 pounds even. Not going to take the lead with 81 pounds and 2 ounces. Our next angler, a 4-time Bassmaster winner, the BBS, the Big Bass Specialist from Houston, California, Ishmael. Needs 16 pounds and 15 ounces to take over the lead in the ARE Truckhouse Bassmaster Elite. 17-7, a brand new leader in Ish Monroe. Well, let's roll through the next angler. The 2012 Geico Bassmaster Classic champion, Chris Lane. 19 pounds and 7 ounces. With 88.7, Chris Lane takes the lead. With that, we say goodbye to Ish Monroe. Let's celebrate him, ladies and gentlemen. A 7-time Toyota Bassmaster Angler of the Year, 4-time Classic champion from Kalamazoo, Michigan, KVD, Kevin Van Dam. Started the day with 74 pounds and 12 ounces, looking for 13-12. 21 pounds, 6 ounces! KVD gets it done with win number 21!
21, that's a ridiculous number, Mark. No one out there right now is even close to that number, and it's hard to believe that not so long ago and not so far back, people were saying, would he ever win one again? Hard to believe.
Like the day before this tournament right here. In all honesty, you know what, I hate to leave this tournament, but you also heard people say a couple of years ago that Tom Brady's backup, Jimmy Garoppolo, should be the starter. I mean, are you serious? Hey, look at it this way. Also, as far as those grumblings of people saying this guy will never win a tournament again, he has won everything in the world of professional bass fishing. But I'm going to tell you somewhere in the back of his mind, to quiet all of those critics, this one meant a ton.
Oh, absolutely. You definitely get that impression. Talking more about Kevin Van Dam, been a bit of an up and down season by his standards, of course. Bad tournament at Bull Shoals and Lake Norfolk, but the running for Toyota Bassmaster Angler of the Year, well, he is right back in the mix for the Geico Bassmaster Classic. There's his season the way it lays out. Other than that Bull Shoals and Norfolk thing, a perfect season so far. And he's gone from outside the cut line to 27th place, Kevin Van Dam.
And look, his time of year is coming, no doubt about it. And certain lakes he has done very well on. They are on the way.
We've had a lot of conversations about who this season sets up for, and as we take a look at our overall top 12 in points, Toyota Bassmaster Angler of the Year, it's 2014 all over again with Greg Hackney.
Exactly right. Take a look at Hank Cherry having a good tournament here at Toledo Bend. The other side of it, if you look at your top 12, boy, if you fish 5 foot of water and shallower, this year has been the year of shallow bass fishing by far.
Absolutely. That's the sketch halfway through the season right now. Bass Fest is coming up, that mid-season big extravaganza, this time on Lake Texoma. Tell us what you know about that place.
High water conditions, and I'm going to give you one pick. High water conditions, I'm going to stay with your Angler of the Year leader, Greg Hackney. And from there, we're going to Cayuga, where Greg Hackney won a couple years ago. So just give me a 5-gallon bucket of the Louisiana Kid, if you know what I mean, Shaq.
Bass Fest coming up next on the Bassmaster Elite Series. We will see you then.